Hey everyone, what I would like to do in this video is talk about the Electroneum M1 smartphone, and this is it here. So I'd like to talk about the phone and tell you what I like and what I don't like, etc. And this is a continuation of a video that I did last week. In my last video I was talking about the Samsung S10, and you can see from the title here I said that mobile cryptocurrency wallets are going mainstream. And one of the takeaways from that video, what I was trying to get across was I think it's a very good thing that companies like Samsung and HTC and Sony as well are starting to embrace cryptocurrency. Samsung are one of the biggest phone companies in the world. I think they might actually be the biggest right now, and they're going to be supporting decentralized apps and have their own cryptocurrency wallet in the S10, and many of these features will start filtering down to their other phones as well, because they sell a lot of mid-range and low range or low-end phones as well. And I think it's a really good thing, because I think we need these larger companies to embrace cryptocurrency in order to push adoption to the normies, to the general public. So I think it was a very good thing. I did receive a comment right enough. Muddy Funster says, okay, fine, but ETN has been doing this, talking about the M1, and now made their own smartphone, just totally ignored by the crypto community. Samsung BS app comes out, everyone goes crazy on the subject, weird. So yeah, I get comments like that a lot. The implication there being that I don't cover anything that's not mainstream, but if you look down at my other videos, I've got the Ledger Nano X there with the Bluetooth connectivity. I've got the Sirin Labs Finny blockchain smartphone, HTC Exodus One, Sony CSL, and if you go and look at my other live streams, you'll see me covering lots of crypto smartphones and smartphone apps, etc. It doesn't matter what I do in a video, does it? If I talk about one thing, why are you not covering this one? If you do this, why aren't you doing this? Okay, enough of that. So let's jump over and look at the Electroneum M1. Now, this is without doubt a budget phone. This is going to retail at only $80. But before you get excited about that, I'll talk about that in a second, but I would say that I like what they're trying to do as far as the price goes. You can see with phones costing $1,000 or more, who can really afford them? And introducing the Electroneum M1, an affordable Android phone for people in developing regions. So yeah, it's designed for people in developing countries, and obviously the focus of this phone is that it can mine Electroneum, and they push that in the sales page here. You can see that receive up to $3 US worth of Electroneum every single month. They're trying to push this idea that this phone will actually make you money. It's not a huge amount of money, but it is a selling point of the phone. Now, forget about the cryptocurrency side for a second. Let's just talk about the phone itself, and let's look at the specs. Now, those of you who know what I do online, etc., you'll know that I've got another YouTube channel that's more tech orientated, and I do phone reviews and I talk about phones, etc. And I have covered a lot of flagship phones, like high-end phones, but I've also covered some budget phones. And this is certainly a budget. This is the very kind of low end of the smartphone Android market. You can see here, it's got the Android 8.1 Go edition. This is the kind of basic version. Quad-core 1.3 gigahertz, 8GB internal storage, 32 expandable. That's really low. 4.5-inch touchscreen. Yeah, that's quite small as well. 4G dual SIM, Bluetooth 4.0, GPS, 5 megapixels at the back, 2 megapixels at the front. So that's really bad. Even for a budget phone, and I will talk about that in a second, but even for a budget phone at that price, that's pretty bad. And 1600 milliamp battery. So the concern there for me, the 1600 milliamp battery isn't enough. You really, and I know it's got a smaller screen, it's got a 4.5 inch screen, and it's got a quad core kind of low end processor, so it shouldn't use as much power as the higher end phones. But the battery life should be better than that. They really should have put in a better battery. 1600 milliamps, yeah, it's not good enough, certainly not for Android. Now, as I was saying, $80 is a very good price point, and I do like the fact that they're trying to push this to developing countries. They're trying to get the lower end of the market, and they're not going after the iPhone crowd and all that. But if you look at these specs, they're very basic, and they're very basic even for a phone at $80. And you go to Amazon, but especially if you go to AliExpress, GearBest, Banggood, etc., you will see lots of phones out there at the $80 mark. I've actually got it set on pounds just now. But you'll see lots of phones at the $80 mark. I mean, look at this one, $73.99. This is the Redmi Go from Xiaomi. And let's compare the specs. Right away, this one's got a 5-inch screen. This has also got Android Go. It's got the quad-core Snapdragon 425. This one's got 1 gigabyte of RAM. It's got 8 gigabyte storage as well. But you can see, you know, one of the most expensive things in a phone is always the camera. That's, you know, the camera sensors is normally what distinguishes low end and high end. Obviously, other things like processor and RAM, but it's normally the camera that's the big selling point. And you can see even, you know, this is less than $80, and this comes with an 8 megapixel camera on the back and a 5 megapixel at the front. Now, I'm not trying to crap on the Electroneum M1 for no reason, but what I will say is a 5 megapixel camera and a 2 megapixel camera at the front, it will be really bad. Really bad. I've used these cameras, I've tested them in reviews, I've did, you know, trial videos with them. They're okay for a quick snap if it's in daylight, if you've got low light, if it's nighttime, these things are awful. They're just absolutely awful and borderline unusable at nighttime. But during the day, you've got enough light, yeah, you might be able to get a good picture. But specs wise, it's got a bad battery, the cameras are bad, 8 gigabyte storage won't be, it's not a huge amount, but it is expandable with the micro SD card. But it's a budget phone. They could have done this cheaper. That's what I'm trying to say, because Xiaomi is a bigger make. And that is one of the concerns, not just with this phone. You know, I'm saying that Xiaomi is an established brand. One of the concerns I've got with Electroneum is they're obviously not designed this phone themselves. They've, you know, worked with another company to release this phone. Now, forgetting about the fact that this is a crypto phone, the biggest concern when you buy any phone, especially the first phone from a company, the very first phone, is updates. There's large companies like HTC and Sony that, you know, sometimes have a really bad track record with updating Android and updating their phones, providing security updates and, you know, feature and performance updates. What I have seen, you know, having a YouTube over the last couple of years, or the last, I don't know how many years now, 5 or 6 years, but covering phones for so long, whenever a new phone comes out, and it doesn't matter how much backing they've got, you know, when Andy Rubin comes out, he came out with Essential phone. When he came out with that, he was the guy who co-founded Android and all that. This guy was huge, he had a huge amount of backers, and yet it was, you know, plagued with problems, didn't have a lot of updates. And this is one of the problems. When you go with the first phone from a company, you're taking a huge risk, and there's always that risk that you're not going to get updates. You maybe get an update 2 months after you buy the phone, but 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, good luck, because these you know, first time phones from a lot of companies, and I've seen it with Razer phone and all that as well, they tend to be, I'm not going to say a cash grab, but they tend to release them and they factor everything into the cost, as far as they'll sell it for $80, they'll buy it, you know, it takes this price. It takes, say, $50 to manufacture or whatever they'll be paying. But they fail to take into account support and updates and things like that. Now, I'm just speculating at this point. Maybe they will be fantastic with updates. I hope I am wrong. But what I will say is that, generally speaking, with a brand new phone, especially at the low end, there's phones from big companies at the low end that just don't get enough updates. So when you're talking about cryptocurrency and you're talking about security, that is a concern. So from a phone point of view, if you're only buying this for the phone, this is overpriced, especially when there are phones from Xiaomi, big companies like Xiaomi that are, you know, known for actually giving good updates. When there's phones out there cheaper, I would say that yeah, it's a harder sell. They're not taking the piss here though, guys. They're not taking the piss. $80 is still cheap. They're probably charging about $20 more than what they should, maybe even $30 more than what they should. But at the end of the day, this is a phone which they will be customizing to promote Electroneum. You know, $3 worth of Electroneum. So here's the thing, right? I've talked about the bad points. And I wanted to get the bad points out of the way, you know, from the phone, from a technical phone point of view. But from, I guess you could say, you know, the bigger picture point of view, from a bigger picture point of view, I would say that this is a very good thing. There's so many really bad cryptocurrency projects out there, terrible cryptocurrency projects. They're just out there to scam people. I like projects out there that are trying to do something tangible, that are trying to develop services online, exchanges, physical products, people behind these projects that are actually trying to do something. They're not just saying, well, why don't we copy that one and we'll change the max supply from 30 million to 20 million and we'll throw in a masternode. Yay, it's our new project. It's amazing. This is why Bitcoin sucks and our project is great. No, they're actually doing something here. So regardless of what you think of Electroneum, keep your opinions to yourself in that regard, because I don't think that's really the issue here. Some of you guys, I've seen this in the live stream, some of you guys love Electroneum, some of you guys hate it and think it's terrible. But really, that's not the issue here. The issue here is really that this company is trying to push a mobile phone that's created specifically for their project and to push their project, and it's going to support cryptocurrency, etc. I'll take a look at the features page. But what I will say is, as I was saying, I'm comparing this to phones out there. If you only wanted this as a phone, you could always use a phone like this and download cryptocurrency wallets. So it's not the cheapest out there. There are other options out there. But what I would say is, I think they should be commended for trying this. I really do think they should be commended. I really do think that they're trying to do something good. And yes, there are cheaper things out there, but the phone looks actually quite good and it looks usable. It's fairly stylish. Yes, the black bars at the top and bottom, the bezels look quite big in comparison to newer phones, but it's not that bad. It looks okay. It looks like an old iPhone from a few years ago, like the ones that come out with all the colours. So yeah, I think the fact that they're doing this is good, and I think that they're trying to push this to developing regions is good. So bigger picture point of view, I think this is a great thing. I think they should be commended. Fair play to them. There's an article here from their CEO. I saw this one. This is like a couple of weeks ago. Why we're launching a mobile phone. So I'll link to this article in the description area. You guys can check it out. But you can see here, the company says that it's mining app used by nearly 3 million people. The company is on a mission to simplify cryptocurrency for people with limited education and means, give them a fast, easy way to transfer digital money and tap into the developed world $3 trillion market for digital goods and services. Their smartphone costs $80, roughly the same as a higher end reconditioned smartphone with the same features. So, clearly they're trying to target Africa. Africa is it's a whole different environment as far as they're using apps and they're using their phones to send payments in ways that people in the Western world wouldn't even have thought. And they're doing it with text messages and all these different things. So it's a big market, and yes, it's not the best phone out there. If I'm looking this from my tech point of view, it's not the best phone out there, but I really do think they should be commended for what they're trying to do, and I think it's a good thing. And like I was saying in this video, this is the kind of thing that's going to push adoption, and that's why, again, bigger picture, I think this is very good news. I think what they're trying to do is good. And maybe they're going to tap into a market that many other projects hadn't even thought about, targeting Africa and maybe parts of Asia. And many other markets have maybe, we're going to focus on Europe and America. Maybe they're going to do really well by doing that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think that, yes, the phone isn't the best out there, but what they're trying to do, what they're actually trying to achieve, I think they should be commended, and I think it's a very good thing. I'll leave a link to this website. You can check out yourself. I'll leave a link to this article as well, and my last video if you want to check that out. But yeah, as always, guys, give me your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think. It's maybe not the best phone out there, but what they're trying to do is very good, and I think this is one of another product out there that's going to help push adoption, and it's definitely going to help them promote their project. So yeah, fair play to them. Give me your thoughts below, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care.